More than a year of making speeches and connections in early voting states, my next guest is the first major player to officially announce that he has formed a presidential exploratory committee. His objective is simple, it's straightforward: take back our government. Joining me now, live in studio, former Minnesota Governor, 2012 GOP presidential hopeful, Tim Pawlenty. Governor, how are you?
I'm doing great, Sean. Thanks for having me.
Are you enjoying the time out on the road? Is it?
I enjoy it a lot, but as I mentioned to you off air, this is not about fun. This is about saving America. It's headed in the wrong direction. If I wanted to have fun, I'd be playing hockey and drinking beer. This is about saving our country.
What position you play in hockey? Because that was my sport as a kid.
Well, I used to play defense, but now in the old-timers
I
league,
was the center. I was the guy you were knocking over in front of the goalie.
Now you play whoever gets tired and comes off the ice. You take their
That's
position.
Exactly right. Good point. Well, let me first ask you about this little battle with Trump. Donald Trump has said, where's the birth certificate?
Yeah. And
you said it's not an issue for you. You have no doubt whatsoever. My question to you is, because I never really followed the issue, but I've gotten more interested only lately. Yeah. Why don't they just produce this stupid thing and move on? I don't
well, I come at it, first of all, as to Donald Trump, the Donald. I think he's successful, entertaining, interesting, funny. I think he brings a lot to the debate, so, good for him. But on the other hand, for me, the news reports from CNN and others have said they've seen the birth certificate.
Never trust CNN.
Well, it's a start. Okay. But look, we got big issues in the country. This is an important issue if it turned out to be true. But I just don't believe, with the advertisement, with the hospital announcement, with the certificate of live birth, that somebody that long ago, fabricated and created a fraudulent situation that Barack Obama could be where he is today. I just don't believe that as a thing. So it's maybe, but it's for something that Trump wants to pursue.
But there's nothing wrong with asking the question. You don't have a problem with people saying, can we just see it? Can you find it?
No, but it's been reported. CNN, I watched it myself. CNN reported they saw the birth certificate. So you got to either believe that they didn't and they're lying, or there's something else going on.
It's just something weird that they don't release it and just get it over with. It seems to me, because I don't doubt it, but now it's getting strange that they just don't say here. To me, all right, let me move on.
That's true. That's also, but the other thing is it's becoming a big distraction for other reasons too, and we got issues right in front of us that are going to take down the country if we don't fix them.
Well, I agree with you, and Senator Rubio was just saying the same thing. I thought your comments were dead on about the president being timid on Libya. I find that he's got this pattern where he seems indecisive and he can't make up his mind. What do you think's going on?
Well, I think you've got somebody who is sitting atop of the most complex and important organization in the world, who doesn't understand executive function and leadership. And I also think he's somebody who's got an incoherent view of America's place in the world. And when he runs around the world and A, apologizes, and B, says we are one of many, one of equals, that's not true. That's not America's place in the world. Our role is not to be one of many. It's not to lag behind China. Our role as the United States of America is to lead the world in everything, Sean, and not have an apologist as the president.
And you think Barack Obama, does he not believe in American exceptionalism? Is that what it is?
Well, it starts with having a coherent understanding of what we stand for. So when you see an unsettled situation that unfolds quickly and you're in crisis, what do you revert back to? You revert back to your core beliefs and values. In Egypt, their response was, Hillary Clinton, he's not a dick, or the situation is stable, and by the way, we're dinner friends with the Mubaraks. 2, we have the vice president saying he's not a dictator. 3, the head of national intelligence for the country says the Muslim Brotherhood is a largely secular organization. Then they say Mubarak's got to go, and they send Wiesner to Europe to whisper in his ear, we really didn't mean it. I mean, it was incoherent, and that trend continues. He doesn't understand America's place in the world, America's place in history. He is weak. His responses is incoherent. And when you have unsettled situations, you have to revert back to your core values and principles, and he doesn't believe what we believe.
How bad is the economy?
I think we're headed for a double dip. That's my personal view. I think you have a situation now where they have devalued the dollar. A strong dollar represents a strong economy and a strong country. I think they have flooded the economy with fiat money in a way that's going to have a return of inflation in a manner and to a degree that I think is going to be very troubling. I think they have no appreciation and respect for the deployment of private capital and private markets, and I think they have completely botched the additional burdens they put on the deployment and aggregation of capital.
Do you see any way out of this before the election in 2012? Do you think you see any avenue for improvement before 2012?
It may look like there's temporary improvement because they have artificially infused the economy with government money, but the consequences of that will, as sure as we're sitting here, will rear its head. And one of the questions for the American people are going to be, Do you really want $4 a gallon gas? Do you really want 8, 9, 10 or higher % unemployment? Do you really want a government that's out of control and can't address its deficit?
My line is, can you afford 4 more?
Well,
let me ask you
can I just
this.
say one thing? As I travel the country, Sean, one of the saddest things I encounter is the number of Americans who now believe that our best days are not yet ahead of us. And that's a sad development, and it's a reflection, I think, of weak, uncertain, and compromised leadership.
How do you break out in this race? In other words, we don't know who else is in it.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of took the first big step. Because there's going to be a lot of people, very similar views. How is Governor Pawlenty going to break out and distinguish himself from all the other candidates in the race?
Well, what will differentiate people, first of all, is their personal background and story. And like Senator Rubio, I grew up in a blue-collar background in a meatpacking town. We've all got a record. The Cato Institute gave me 1 of 4 A grades for governors in the country. 1 of 4.
Right.
I'm the only one in the north half of the
libertarian
country.
group. Right.
I've got a vision for the future. And I think another thing that's going to differentiate is I can unite not just the conservative movement, but the party. If you look at libertarian conservatives, economic conservatives, social conservatives, national defense conservatives, I think I'm going to be the only candidate in the field who can genuinely and deeply appeal to the whole party and then go out and compete in a place like Minnesota and win it.
All right, Governor, I hope we'll see you often. We really appreciate you stopping by as always. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Let not your heart be troubled. Our great American panel is next.